more topics, that is star connected winding and wave shape of the flux in the air gap. Okay, so we will discuss these two topics later after completion of induction machine operation. Fine. So now we will go with the second unit. Okay, so second unit is induction motor. Okay, so already we have discussed the construction and the working principle of induction motor. Fine. Now I will give you the brief introduction again, and I will repeat now. So what is induction machine? What are the parts and what is the working principle? Then today I will explain rotating magnetic field. Okay. Can you able to see the screen? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So induction motor or induction machine, it may be generator motor. So when it works as a motor, in the second unit we will discuss the induction machine as a induction motor. Okay. So the working principle of motor is, any motor is, it is a device which converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. Okay. So the working principle of induction motor is mutual induction. Already we have discussed. Okay. Now when coming to the parts of the induction machine, first one we have stator, second one rotor. Okay. So stator is in circular shape. All of you please mute your microphones. So this is the stator shape and we have slots on its inner periphery. Listen, I'm repeating the last class, second day class. Already we have discussed all these topics, okay? So throughout this surface, slots are provided. In these slots, we will have which winding? Armature winding. Okay. So this is the construction of stator. Again, in these slots, we have three types: open type, semi-open type, and closed type. And we will go with which type of slots? Yes, semi-closed or semi-open. Semi-closed slots. What is the reason also we have discussed, okay? Because it has a moderate features between open type and closed type slots. And this is about the slots, and the material used for the armature core is silicon steel. Okay, so we have discussed why we use steel and why we will add silicon to the steel. Okay, so the silicon reduces the eddy current losses. Steel is having low hysteresis coefficient, so hysteresis losses will be minimized by using steel material. So overall, silicon and steel will reduces the iron losses. Okay, and the stator core is laminated. Fine. Next, when coming to armature winding, till last class we have discussed about this winding itself. So armature winding is a three-phase distributed short pitch winding. Okay. So this is about the stator. And when coming to rotor, in the rotor again we have two types. First one is squirrel case rotor. Second one is
slip ring.
yes, slip ring rotor. Okay, the squirrel cage rotor construction we have seen. It has a circular cylindrical in shape, which has slots on its outer periphery. In each slot, we place a thick copper strip, nothing but a copper conductor, thick copper strip. So number of copper strips equal to number of slots. Okay, the both ends of each copper strip is connected by using an end ring. End ring. Okay. So if you see the shape of the rotor, it looks like a case of the squirrel. So the name comes like squirrel case rotor. Okay. See, I'm explaining very fast because already we have discussed this topic for 2 classes, second and third class. If you have any doubt in between, you can ask me. Okay. Okay. So this is about a squirrel case rotor. And if you see slip ring rotor, the rotor is having a 3-phase winding. Okay. Who is that? Please mute your microphone. This is the shaft. Okay. So this rotor also has shaft. To this mechanical load is connected. The rotor winding. This is the rotor winding of slip ring rotor. Okay. Hello, who is that? See, so we will have, this is one slip ring, this is another slip ring. Because it is 3-phase, we use 3 slip rings. Okay, the slip rings are mounted on the shaft of the rotor. Okay, so when the shaft rotates, slip rings also rotates. Now to the slip rings, we will connect brushes. Now the windings are connected like this. Okay. This is a star connected external resistance. This is a star connected external resistance which is connected to the rotor winding. This is rotor winding. Okay, this is rotor winding. This is called star connected external resistance. Okay, and we have discussed also why we will connect this external resistance to this rotor winding. What is the reason for connecting this resistance? To increase the starting torque. Okay, so the major and only drawback of the squirrel cage induction motor is the starting torque of this motor is very, very low. Okay, so to overcome this drawback in the squirrel cage slip ring induction motor rotor, we will add the resistance. So if we add the resistance, the starting torque will proportional to the resistance. How it is, we will discuss in next topic. Okay, for the time being, remember the starting torque is proportional to the rotor winding resistance. So if the resistance is added, the rotor circuit resistance, total resistance will be increased. Then the starting torque of the motor will increase. So this is the main advantage of the slip ring rotor. Okay, so the brushes are fixed. The shaft and the slip rings are moving. The brushes are always in contact with the slip rings. Okay. Now we will connect one centrifugal switch here. Okay, initially the switch is in closed position. Okay, so at the time of starting, the resistance is connected to the rotor circuit. Fine. Now, when the rotor starts rotating, speed increases from 0 to rated speed. For example, rated speed is 1440 RPM. Let us say. If the speed increases nearly 90% of rated speed, then the centrifugal switch automatically opens. It is a mechanical switch. Then what happens? This external resistance will get disconnected. It gets disconnected when the motor reaches 90% of its rated speed. So under running condition, there will be no external resistance. Okay, we don't require also. Why we are using this resistance? To improve the starting torque only, at the time of starting only. So at the time of starting only, this will be connected. In running case, it will be disconnected automatically by using this centrifugal switch. Okay, so this is the operation of slip ring rotor. Okay, now even though we have the advantage of starting torque, we also have the disadvantages also. And one more advantage of this slip ring rotor is we can control the rotor speed by controlling the rotor currents. How we can connect this external resistance. If you increase this external resistance, rotor current will decrease. So we can control the rotor current so that the rotor speed can be controlled. So speed control is possible. Starting torque is more. When coming to disadvantages, the main drawback is it has more heat losses because we are adding the external resistance. I square R losses will be more. Second one, cost is initial cost is more because we need to have this total setup, slip rings, brushes, and centrifugal switch and resistance. Initial cost is more. Third one, maintenance is difficult because of this arrangement. Okay. So these are the drawbacks of this slip ring induction rotor. We use squirrel case or slip ring, that is decided by the application. Okay, based on the requirement, we have to choose squirrel case motor or slip ring motor. Already I told you in the last topic or last class also, where we require high starting torque, then we use slip ring induction motor. The motor which uses this rotor is called as SRIM, slip ring induction motor. Where we require good running performance, then we use squirrel case induction motor. Okay. For squirrel case induction motor, starting torque is very low, but it has a good running performance. Okay. For example, where we require starting torque, we discussed lifts, cranes, hoists. If you take lift, if all the members enter into the lift, then only the lift has to start. So initially the load torque is very high. To lift this load torque, motor torque also must be high starting. When it is moving, we know it doesn't require that much of torque in running. In cranes also, crane has to lift the weights like any vehicle or any load or any material. So initially it has to overcome the total load torque. Load is heavy. Okay, like hoists and everything. So in this, like traction also. Traction means trains, locomotive engines. In tractions also, train starts when all the passengers are filled with the compartments. Okay. Now initially the load is more. When train is moving, the torque will be less. Okay. So in traction also we use slip ring induction motors. In olden days in the traction, we used to have DC series motors. We know DC series motor also has high starting torque. Okay. Squirrel case induction motor we will use where good running performance we required. Okay. So for example, in pressing machines or sheathing machines, the sheets, the iron sheets are produced continuously. For that, we need to have a constant speed. Okay. Imagine See, two rollers are there. In between these two rollers, the iron sheet is run. Okay, it is to be pressed and it is to be delivered in required shape. So continuously, irrespective of the load, these two must be rotated in same speed continuously throughout the operation. So like this, in these cases, we use squirrel cage induction motor. So this is about the rotor. Okay, stator and rotor. So the rotor is placed in between inside the machine. Okay, this is the rotor. Fine. To this rotor, we will have shaft. Okay. Now, see. This is the stator. And this is the rotor. In between, we have air gap. The air gap plays a vital role in the induction machine because, especially in induction motor. So how, first of all, we will discuss how the induction motor will rotate. What is the working principle? Mutual induction. That is, the three-phase AC supply is given to stator winding. Then it will produce a magnetic field which will rotate in the air gap with a speed of ns, synchronous speed. How it rotates, we will explain today's class. Okay. Sorry. So this magnetic field rotates. This rotating magnetic field will cut the rotor armature conductors. Then EMF will be induced. Okay, in the rotor winding. Because of that induced EMF, current will pass through the rotor. That is called rotor current. Okay. So now we have flux from the stator, and because of the current in the rotor winding, we will have another flux also. So in the machine, now we have got two fluxes. I told you at the very beginning, to produce the torque in any motor, electrical motor, or to run any electrical motor with some speed, we need to have two fluxes in the machine. No doubt at all. Okay. Two fluxes in the machine. Flux 1 is produced by stator winding. Flux 2 is produced from the rotor because of mutual induction. Now, interaction of these two fluxes causes the torque on the rotor. That is force. That force causes to rotate the rotor. Now the rotor will rotate. Fine. Now, so here if you observe interaction of resultant of two fluxes, phi 1 and phi 2, stator flux and rotor flux, the resultant flux is known as phi r, which will rotate in the air gap. That is the useful flux. Okay. The flux which links with the other parts of the machine, that is slots, stator core, rotor core, that is called leakage flux. Okay. Now, the air gap flux in the induction motor must be constant. It will be constant. How it is? If the flux is decreasing, the stator will take more current from the source and produce the flux. Okay. So now, if you recall your transformer, in the transformer primary, the no load current has two components. One is magnetizing component, other one is working component of current. Okay. So you might have been studied I naught equal to I mu plus IW. This is the working component of the current and this is the magnetizing component of the current. Similarly, this three-phase supply also, the stator winding draws current, that is no load current, comprises of magnetizing current and working component. What is the use of magnetizing component of current? This is the component of current which produces the magnetic field. Okay. Now, this magnetizing component of current depends upon the air gap between the rotor and stator. Okay. If the air gap is more, if the air gap is more, what is the reluctance? If the air gap is more, reluctance will be more.
More.
Reluctance means it is the property of the magnetic circuit which opposes the magnetic flux. So reluctance is more, opposing nature is more. To overcome that opposing nature, the stator winding has to draw more magnetizing current, because to produce the constant working flux in the air gap. Okay. So if this air gap is less, reluctance is less magnetizing current is enough. Okay. Now what will happen if the magnetizing current is more or if the magnetizing current is less? Okay. Tell me, the magnetizing current must be low value or high value?
Value. Low value,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, low value. Why it should be low?
Power factor consideration.
Yes, very good. So if you recall the vector diagram of the transformer, so this is the no load current I naught. This component is voltage and this is current. This component is working component. This component is magnetizing component. Okay. Now this is the input primary current I naught. This is the input supply voltage. Now what is the power factor? Cosine of the angle, that is phi, cosine of the angle between voltage and current. This is the input voltage. This is the input current. Now this is the power factor angle phi. For example, let us say this angle is 45 degrees in this case. Now if the air gap is more or due to any other reasons, the induction machine will draw more magnetizing current from the source. Then what happens? Magnetizing working component of current is same. The magnitude of I mu is increased. Now what is the resultant? This is the resultant input current. Now this phi is increased or decreased? Increases. Yes. Phi will increase means cos phi will decrease. Okay. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So why the phi is increased? Because the magnitude of the I mu is increased. So phi will increase. So if you have more air gap, the power factor is less. Power factor should not be less. Why? What happen if the power factor is less? I told you in the last class. I'll tell you within 1 or 2 points. When magnetizing current is more, that is reactive component is more. Magnetizing current means flux component. So what is inductance? L equal to N into phi by I. If phi increases, L increases. If L increases, XL increases. If XL increases, the voltage drop due to this one will increase. So the net voltage will decrease. So we'll get poor voltage. Voltage drop is more. If the voltage drop is more, it will not affect only your machine. The machines or loads connected to beside your home or your company or organization, those also will get affected because of this low voltage. That is the reason every customer has to make sure that power factor should not be low. Nearly it should be 0.8 to 1. 0.8 has to be maintained. Okay. If we don't maintain power factor 0.8, that indicates that our load is more lagging, more inductive. It is taking more magnetizing currents. So because of our loads, remaining loads will get low voltage. That is the reason we will be penalized. Okay. We will be charged a fine amount. Right. So air gap plays vital role in the induction machine. So the air gap of induction machine is very, very low. That is approximately to 0.3 to 0.4 mm. You can imagine 1 mm is, you cannot imagine. This is 0.3 to 0.4 mm. Okay. Yes. So this is about the construction and the working of the induction machine, induction motor. Okay. Now, yes, this is the next topic. Can note down the rotating magnetic field, production of rotating magnetic field. It is called RMF. So till now we were discussing that whenever three-phase supply is given to induction stator winding, rotating magnetic field is produced. So what is rotating magnetic field? How it is produced? We will discuss now. First of all, write down 2 points. In order to produce rotating magnetic field in any AC machine, in order to produce rotating magnetic field in any AC machine, 2 conditions must be satisfied. Okay, first one is the three-phase windings must be space displaced by 120 degrees each other. You write down these 2 points, okay? First condition is three-phase windings must be space displaced by 120 degrees each other. Second point is currents passing through this winding must be time displaced by 120 degrees. 120 degrees electrical. Okay. Now, see, whenever these 2 conditions are satisfied, then definitely a rotating magnetic field is produced. Rotating magnetic field means magnetic field will be rotating. It will rotate. Okay. So in this case, for explanation, we will consider a three-phase. We will consider a three-phase, two-pole, single-turn stator winding. Single-turn stator winding. See. So if this is the stator, okay. So three-phase means we are having R, Y, and B. If this is the R phase, okay. So what is the first condition? Three-phase windings must be space displaced by 120 degrees electrical. So after 120 degrees, we need to place Y phase. After 120 degrees, we need to place B phase winding. So three phase. Winding means we have considered one turn, single turn. Single turn means you can imagine this is single turn. Okay. So it has 2 coil sides. Now R phase has this one coil side. Where would be the other coil side? Exactly in opposite. That is R dash. That means you take one wire, insert into this slot, the remaining wire you need to take out from this R dash slot. It completes one single turn. All of you understood? Okay. Wire తీసుకుని ఇక్కడ స్టార్ట్ చేసి పైన R phase దగ్గర wound చేసుకుని మళ్ళీ R dash నుంచి బయట తీసుకొస్తాం. So we will have 2 ends. One is at R, another one is at R dash. Exactly in opposite. Similarly, Y and Y dash, B and B dash. Now the first condition is satisfied, that is each phase is displaced by 120 degrees apart each. Fine. What is the second condition? The currents passing this winding has to, we have to supply the currents to this winding. The currents passing through this winding must be time displaced by 120 degrees. Okay, that is three-phase currents. This is current. See, if this is the IR, IR means current in phase R. Okay. And next, time displacement means this is 90 degrees angle. This is 180. After 120, this is 150 and this is 120. After 120, the IY has to start. Okay. From this point, again after 120, IB. This is IR, this is IY, this is IB. These currents has to be passed through this three-phase windings. Then the rotating magnetic field is produced. How it will, we will analyze now. Okay. So first, I'll draw again. This is R phase current, IR. This is 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 30, 60, 120 and 150. After this, this is 270. This is 210, 240, and so on up to 360. After 270, we'll have 300, 330. Yes. See, this is 0 degrees. Omega t and magnitude is current parameter. Now, R phase current started at 0 degrees and the Y phase current starts after 120. That is at 120. Y phase current will start. From this, again 1, 2, 3, 4 at 240. After 120 degrees from phase Y, B phase current will start. This is three phase currents, okay? 30, 60, 90, 120, here 60. This is IY, this is IB. When you're explaining this concept, you have to draw clearly these two diagrams, this winding diagram and this currents diagram with angles, okay? Yes. Now, see. Take at any instant, suppose at omega t equal to 90 degrees. This is the point where omega t is 90 degrees. Now tell me at this particular instant, which currents are positive, which currents are negative? We have three currents, IR, IY and IB. IR is positive or negative?
Positive.
Yes, at this instant, IR is in positive axis. So, IR is positive, IY and IB?
Negative.
Negative. Okay. That means in R phase, the current is flowing in one direction. In Y phase and B phase, current is flowing in another direction. Okay, let us indicate the positive current direction with cross, negative current direction with dot. You know what is cross, what is dot? What is cross? When the current is flowing away from the observer. What is dot? When the current is coming towards the observer. Okay. Now at this instant, if you see, we will draw another diagram or okay, I will draw here. See, I'm drawing roughly. You can draw. So R dash, Y dash. This is B dash, R dash, Y dash. Yes. Now see, at omega t is 9 degrees, IR is positive. In R phase, current is positive. So we will denote with cross. In Y phase, current is negative, dot. B phase also current is negative, dot. Now tell me, in R, current is positive. What is the current direction R dash?
Negative.
Negative.
Negative, opposite, because these two are forms a single coil, each coil side. If this is positive, this is negative. So negative means here dot. If Y is dot, Y dash is cross, positive. If B is negative, B dash is positive. Now see, in this portion, we will have some conductors. Positive or negative, Y dash, R and B dash. The conductors in this region have the current direction of positive. The current conductors in this region, bottom region, has the current direction of negative. Now, if you apply Fleming's, okay, what is right hand thumb rule? Hold the conductors in such a direction such that thumb must indicate the current direction. Remaining four fingers will indicate the flux direction. Now, here, place your right hand thumb and four fingers such that thumb indicating the current direction. Then remaining four fingers shows in clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction.
For upper conductors, it shows clockwise direction. And
Yes.
for the lower, it shows anti-clockwise direction.
Very good. So for upper conductors, the current direction is into the board or into the laptop. So your thumb must indicate towards the laptop or towards your mobile. Okay. Then remaining four fingers will show in this direction. So this is the flux direction. Okay. So flux. See, I'm drawing outside, but the flux will not be outside. It is in the mission. Okay, I'll draw here otherwise. This is the flux direction, clockwise direction. We'll have a number of magnetic lines of force. Okay. Due to the bottom conductors, the flux is anti-clockwise direction. That is this is the direction. Okay. Now tell me, this is the magnetic flux. So see, I'm drawing lines here. This portion is core, this total portion, and this portion is air gap. Now, which flux is useful for us? Air gap flux, because the rotor is placed here itself. So we have to concentrate on air gap flux. Okay. Now tell me. So here we are having this part B. At part A, the flux is, at part A is the silicon steel material, it's a metal part. So this metal is accepting the flux or radiating the flux at part A.
Radiating, sir.
At part B, no, at part A it is accepting. This is the flux direction. Because of the upper conductors on and because of the lower conductors, the air gap flux direction is same from B to A. So at part B, it is accepting, sorry, at part A, this metal part is accepting the flux, metal part B radiating the flux. So which part acts as north pole, which part acts as south pole?
B north.
A north.
South.
A south.
B north.
B
Yes,
north.
B
A
is
south.
north pole, A is
A south.
south pole.
South pole.
South pole. Okay. So this is north pole B, A is south pole. This is the flux direction. Okay. Now, if this is the magnetic flux direction, the center line of this flux is called as magnetic axis. The center line, this one. Okay. So this is the position of the magnetic field axis at omega t equal to 90 degrees. Clear? Now, when omega t equal to, we'll see at 150 degrees. See, at omega t equal to 150 degrees, tell me what is the current directions, which is positive, which is negative. See, this is the omega t is 150 degrees. Here IR IY is positive, IB is negative. So IR is positive, IY, sorry, IR and IY is positive, IB is negative. So positive means we have to indicate with cross, negative means we have to indicate with dot. So R dash, Y dash, B dash. Now IR and IY is positive means this is positive, this is positive, B is negative. If R is positive, R dash is negative. If Y is positive, Y dash is negative. If B is negative, B dash is positive. Now what happens? This is the flux direction because of these conductors clockwise. And this is the flux direction because of these conductors anti-clockwise. Now again, this metal part is accepting the flux or radiating the flux?
Accepting.
Accepting. This acts as a south pole.
South pole.
This metal part, see I'm circling here, this metal part radiating the flux acts as a north pole. Now what is the magnetic flux, magnetic field axis? This is the position of the magnetic field axis. What is the position of the magnetic field axis when omega t equal to 90 degrees? See, this is the position. Next case, we have seen this is the position. Now the magnetic axis is moving in which direction? In the first case, we have seen this is the direction. This is the magnetic flux
Clockwise.
axis. Yes, the magnetic flux axis has been changed from this position to this position in clockwise direction. Okay. So at this position, omega t equal to 90. This is omega t equals 150. Similarly, if you analyze for another case for omega t equal to some 210 degrees. See, this is the case at 210 degrees. Here IY is positive, IR and IB is negative. IR is negative, IY is positive, IB also negative. Now, you draw R dash, Y dash, B dash. See, IR is negative, so this is dot. Definitely this is cross. IY is positive, this is cross, this is dot. IB also negative, so this is B dot cross. Now what will happen? This is the flux direction and this is the flux direction. So this is north pole, this is south pole, this is the magnetic axis. Now when time is increasing from omega t equals to 0 to and so on, 90, 150, 210, with respect to time, the magnetic flux axis is constant or it is moving in the space?
Moving.
Yes, with respect to omega t, it is moving. So this type of magnetic flux is called as rotating magnetic field. When the magnetic flux is constant at one particular space angle, that is called as constant flux. Okay, so this is called rotating magnetic field. So in like this, we will get the rotating magnetic field in the air gap or from the stator winding. All of it is clear? If you have any doubt, I will explain now itself. Okay, you can note down these diagrams or take pictures. So while you are answering, first you have to write these two conditions. Then you have to draw these two diagrams, that is figure A and figure B. Then you have to analyze with the help of remaining three diagrams with respect to omega t. Okay, so finally you have to conclude that as the magnetic field axis is rotating with respect to time omega t, this is called as rotating magnetic field, or we can say that magnetic field is moving in the air gap. This rotating magnetic field will cut the rotor winding. EMF is induced. From that, story is same. I hope everyone is clear. If you have any doubt, ask me. Okay. So to this rotating magnetic field, this is the proof, physical significance, physical proof, physically how the magnetic field is rotating. But we have one mathematical proof also, okay, that we will discuss in the next class. Right now we don't have enough time. It takes some time. Okay. Total 60. Okay. If you listen from next class onwards, please join before 5 minutes. If it is 9:30, start login at least from 9:27. Otherwise, we need to wait for 5 minutes or 6 minutes for remaining people to join. Okay, and some of you are not responding. When I was asking you the questions, you are not responding. Please respond to me. Okay, even if you know the answer or not, if you respond, then you can start thinking. Okay. Fine. So okay, it's clear. Next class we will discuss same rotating magnetic field, how it is produced. We will have the proof, mathematical proof, and then we'll start the concepts of induction motor. Okay. So now it is 10:24. From now onwards, I will consider the roll numbers. But so many of you are not giving the roll numbers in the chat box. Yesterday only I got 29. 29 roll numbers I got. Please make sure everyone should post your roll number in the chat box. Okay. Okay, post your roll numbers in chat box. I will save it.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes. Yes. Who is this?
I'm Vinay.
Tell me,
In
Vinay.
general household purpose, we use motors now, sir.
Yes,
Is it a three-phase or single-phase motors?
single phase.
Single-phase. Then
Single
how
phase
will the
motors we
motor?
use. Yes.
How will it rotate for single-phase, sir?
How will?
How will the motor rotate for single-phase windings?
Yes. We have that concept also in your syllabus. We have single phase induction motors also. For that, we have different methods to start the motor. In general,
Okay.
single phase induction motor, it is not a self-starting machine.
Mm,
We have to start it by making some arrangements, winding arrangements.
by using
We will
starters,
discuss.
sir. Is it
No,
by
no,
using starters?
not start. No. Starters are use it for the protection
Okay.
for the motors only, not to start.
For increasing the starting torque. Is it, sir?
It is also not to increase the starting torque. Starting torque can be increased by winding itself or the type of the machine.
Okay.
If you, I think you might have been studied in the DC machine. We have 3-point starter and 4-point starter. That is for the protection, overload protection, overcurrent protection.
Okay.
That is for the protection to protect the machine without damage.
In single-phase winding, the winding should be placed perpendicular, sir.
No, perpendicular to whom? We have only one winding, so only one axis.
Okay.
But it is perpendicular means we will provide another winding that is called auxiliary winding,
Okay, sir.
which will not be there in the running condition.
Okay, sir. Okay.
We will discuss in detail in the third or fourth unit, I think. Third unit.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
So then
Shall I
in
close
single
the
phase,
bit?
how many?
Yes, tell me.
Then how many coils will be there in single phase, sir? This
Coils depending upon the rating of the machine. It is 0.5 HP or 1 HP motor. That depends upon the rating of the machine and size of the machine. Coils means indirectly we are talking about the number of turns, winding. Okay, that is decided by the rating of the machine. Did you get the answer, Aditya Chandra?
no
Hello?
means I was thinking like if there will be lesser coil, then the voltage will not be sinusoidal.
No. Sinusoidal or the voltage shape depends upon the shape of the magnetic flux wave, not
Yes,
on
sir.
the number of coils or magnitude of the current or voltage.
That also won't be like sinusoidal. It will be like some
It will be
step
sinusoidal.
function.
No doubt it is sinusoidal because we are giving sinusoidal flux, sinusoidal supply. First
Okay,
point
sir.
you have to understand is the voltage wave shape does not depend on the number of turns or type of winding or number of winding. Okay, it depends on the supply we give or the flux wave shape. In order to get that flux wave shape sinusoidal, we will have so many arrangements. Like that, we have discussed chamfered poles,
Yes,
pole
sir.
chamfering. Now we will do pole chamfering to get the sinusoidal flux. From that sinusoidal flux, we will get sinusoidal induced EMF.
EMF. Okay, sir.
You got it? For your question, the
Yes,
answer
sir.
is the sinusoidal wave shape does not dependent on the magnitude of the
Magnitude.
number of turns or winding.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Any doubts?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
2 days back you told you will send the KD expression, sir. Derivation of KD expression.
Yes. Yesterday I told you I will give you. Give me 1 day time. I will upload all the PDF material.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Shall we close? Okay. Thank you all.